Daddy Rich, what's your secret, brother?
My secret, please.
How you doing, brother?
Thank you, brother.
Good to see you. The secret? There are no secrets. Believe that.
I believe
Except believe in the Lord.
Right.
And believe in yourself.
Yeah. That's right.
And most of all, believe in that federal green. Because money walks and bullshit talks.
Daddy Rich, what's your secret, brother? What's up, you guys? I don't know why. Today I woke up thinking about that. The secret, there are no secrets. Believe that. How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to do just a quick stream, talk about the future of HEX. Because I feel like we're really at a pivotal point right now. We're closing in on, now that it's the end of October, about 1 month until the 3-year anniversary of the Bitcoin snapshot for HEX, and then a little bit more than a month away until the HEX 3-year anniversary. And we're really at a pivotal time. This is a really big year for HEX. It's pretty crazy that during our bear market was probably one of the times where HEX has really moved forward the most. So it's pretty amazing to see. So we're just going to be talking about that, and then probably going to do a short stream now, and then I'm going to do another stream later this afternoon where I'm working on the poly contract. Should be doing that now, but so many people are asking about really what's happening in HEX. And so figured I might share what's going on. Get some music going. What's not on the news? What's up? Future looks bright. That's right. RH Max in the building. Stefan King, what's up? The Beach Whale, good to see you too, Chance. Seraph says, too much working, building, pushing, connecting these last weeks. Time for some recharging stream. What better than the Naked Dev one? Long time no see. That'd be a funny reality show, like Naked and kind of like Naked and Afraid, but Naked and Raging Code. 10 more years of colonialism. Could be. Who are the colonists? Are the colonists and are the Hexicans the colonists? Who's that? Keto Natural says, "Hey, DePetra, how are you?" LOL. What up? The sun's out, guns out. Yeah, that's right. Gotta enjoy these last. I guess it's already autumn by now, but canceled. Repent now. 5 more years of colonialism. The Chad. Pivotal. Yeah, P for pivotal. Show me the future HEX and more, please, and thank you. Of course. I was starting to call you Drip Catcher, but then he came on with a wife beater. This isn't a wife beater. This is a Lululemon tank top. A wife beater. Should I go get on a wife beater? Which stays 3 years. That is, well, it depends what you call the anniversary. Because here, let's look at it. It's actually an interesting concept here. I'm going to pull up go to hex.com. Okay, let's switch over to ETH mainnet. So I guess it doesn't. Okay, actually, here let's open it. So show all daily data. So when you look at it on like when you sign into, well, if you staked on day one, like the first available day to stake, your stakes actually appear as if they are day 3. And so day 1 is considered December 2nd at 4 p.m. to December 3rd at 4 p.m. I think that's on, I don't know what time zone that is. My VPN knows what's, I don't know how that's pulling from there. But what's, and the reason that is because day 1 when HEX launched, that was the first day to join the adoption amplifier, meaning you could put in your ETH and then mint HEX. But the way that worked was you'd put in your ETH, and then when the day ticked over, you could mint your HEX. And so you didn't actually take possession of your HEX until day 2. And that's how you can see here there was how much HEX, what is that? Day payout total. So, what that means is that the total amount of HEX, because every day it's 3.69 times the total supply, so 0.0369, that's per year, so divide by 365, that is 0.0001. And so if there was 370,656 divided by that amount, that means that there was 3.6 billion HEX minted that day. And so that is from the 1 billion available in the adoption amplifier, the bonuses, free claims, referrals, everything. So that was like the first day that people got their HEX was on day 2. And so when you started your HEX, everyone got their HEX on day 2. When you start your HEX, your stake doesn't become live until day 3. And so day 3 is actually the first day of staking. If you look at your staker dashboard, your stakes came, your HEX, the first day that HEX actually existed was day 2. And then day 1 was the first day of the adoption amplifier. But what's interesting is that these days that are shown here on this dashboard are different than the day that's on from the contract. So when you see, like right now, it says the HEX day is day 1058 with Etherscan HEX. You look at the contract code, we go to current day function. See how it says 1057, but on the dashboard it says 1058. That's because the contract, like in software, lists of numbers or like indices start at 0. But for a regular user, day 0, I mean, even though day 0 totally makes sense for people, they decided to make it so day 1 was what showed up here. So on the dashboard, it adds 1. So in reality, the HEX day today is 1057. The dashboard says 1058. And because of the timing in which people got their HEX from both the adoption amplifier and the like when your HEX stake become active, the first stake started on day 3, which is really day 2. So that means that these stakes end on day 5,558 for the dashboard or 5,557 for the contract. So a little tidbit there that the day 1 anniversary is Monday, December 2nd. Let's see if it says when I don't know what the day, I'll have to look back on what the day was. It was around, let's see, when was Thanksgiving of 2019? Yeah, so it had to have been around this time. I think like that Friday or so. So maybe the 29th or the 30th of November is the anniversary of that. Says, where's cryptographics? Hey man, don't hate on him too bad. He's fine. Who cares? Who cares what other people say online? Chad, recognize Chad. Yeah, RxMax is a Chad. You see that guy in person, you're like, holy shit, that dude's a Chad. He's like 6'7", probably 300 pounds of pure muscle is huge. Coffee for you. Don't fear what you don't understand. Hope you caught the dip. You got the dip catcher algorithm on lock. And think about how awesome is this. Let's look at this. With that. How awesome is this that we launched the pools on September 5th. So I think we can measure it like this actually. So we launched on the 5th till the 28th. So Monday the 5th right there, all the way to September 28th. Like that. Yeah, so this average price, let's see how do we interpret this? Is that volume weighted? Let's see how we make sense of this. I think are these high low close. Let's look at low. We'll do high low over too. So, people that minted, they, if you were buying to mint, you either got in at around 4 cents all the way down to 2.8 to, when did it end here? It ended on this day. So the minting was in like an amazing dip right there. Could be the generational bottom, which would be pretty awesome with, giving the people who minted the pools that opportunity to get in, to like an encouragement to buy Hex. And I can't remember what day it was where we had that massive buyer. Someone put in like $1 million. I think they bought something like 5 million Hex and minted, or 10 million Hex. It's a huge amount of money. Maybe that was $1 million, but it was a huge amount of money that they just like bought in. And I think that was one of these days when it was really low, and that's like what helped make the bottom. So pretty proud that our mint phase happened all through this whole time frame. We had started on what day? The 5th. All the way to the 28th or 29th, right there. So when did it end? 21 days. Oh no, it was actually through the first or so. It was through the Sunday, right? Wasn't it a Sunday? I can't even remember, you guys. It was 21 days and it started on Monday, so that's pretty cool. Let's tweet that. Say Maximus perpetual pool mint phase. That size 28. A nice blue, and maybe some text wrap for the background. Make the background blue and solid, and we'll make the text yellow. And let's get some nice let's tweet this out, because that's really important for today's discussion, is that these Maximus pools, this really is the sign of a new era of Hex, where it used to be by default people would stake Hex natively. You go to hex.com, but now that it's become clear that gas is an issue and it's only getting worse, that it requires the market to produce solutions, and that's really what we did with Maximus, where Maximus really is like an integral part of staking Hex, because to bear the cost of ending this stake on your own can be quite expensive for most people. So I feel like this really did signify a new era for Hex, because one, it adds an entirely new financial use case to Hex with the liquid staking. It's like now we have Hex bonds that trade based on the future earnings of Hex stakes, which is a brand new concept. We have the pooling of stakes. It's almost like we have roll-ups in Hex. Like people talk about like roll-ups, and that's like the whole purpose of this move to Ethereum 2 is to prepare for a time where, like, literally, you should listen to the Vitalik interview where he talked about the future of Ethereum. It's actually pretty scary how he says that ideally they keep ratcheting up the cost of staking, or the cost of using the chain, so that it forces people into roll-ups. And so we're kind of getting ahead of that with the pools, because based on their goals of where regular users aren't using Ethereum, you're using layer 2 shards or layer 2 roll-ups that are then logging batch transactions to Ethereum. Their goal is to get you off the main chain, and that's a really important thing that we've introduced with the perpetual pools, is that it's almost like our own Hex roll-ups. Because when you look up what a roll-up is, so Ethereum roll-up. So roll-ups perform transaction execution outside the main Ethereum blockchain and send transactions back to the data back to the main Ethereum network. So that's kind of like what we're doing, but not like in a way where we aren't we're not we're still logging to the Ethereum chain, but it's like we're only doing the staking, like a single start stake and an end stake on the main net, and then everything else is handled in a smart contract, really gas-like. And so we have our roll-ups that they only log once to the chain, and then everything else is handled in a smart contract, which is all still on chain. So it's not not a direct roll-up, but what that means is that we are not forcing users to be riding to the chain all on their own. So that's like a big innovation. It was trivially simple too. So that's like I think a really powerful sign is that it wasn't that hard to build a solution for this. Like, we'd be in a really bad situation if say, because a lot of people were not upset, and not even a lot of people, like one person was like, oh, this is like defeating the whole purpose of Hex, and suggesting that it shouldn't have been allowed like in the contract. But Richard talked about it years ago, like before Hex even launched. Was the first time I heard him talk about like a secondary market, and then the reason for bigger pays better being there to encourage people to not spam the network with a bunch of transactions and just to do it all at once. So he'd already talked about that. But what if Hex had made it, like the contract made it, that it couldn't be somehow, I don't know how they would have done it, but what if they made it so that it couldn't have been wrapped in this fashion? Like, that would have been a huge problem. So it's a good thing that Hex is like as extensible as it is, because they didn't have to solve the unknown gas problem at the time. It's like you can only solve the problems you're aware of. But because it's extensible and you can build upon it, that enabled Hex to be flexible enough to where we could build solution, external, not even related to Hex. It's like, I don't work for, like, I've spoken to Richard, but I don't talk to him. Like, I haven't talked to him once about any of this stuff. Didn't even ask for help, didn't even ask for advice or anything. We also did this. And so that shows kind of the decentralization of Hex, and the power of its extensibility, where we can navigate around issues that come up, just by utilizing the HEX contract as is. So pretty powerful stuff, with HEX. And it's awesome that the perpetual pool minters have a chance to catch the dip, mint into this low price. And when we look at most of the minting, it all happened over here. So most of the minting happened like here. Let's look at the so green-dashboard.anvil.app. Build this chart so we can see what days most of the minting happened. It's fucking crazy. So let's hide all these. So most of the minting happened. Okay, so it was from 9:05 to 9:26. Okay, so let's adjust our. So, most of the minting happened at this very low price, or more than the 924. So half of it happened after 924. So half of it happened here. So that's pretty incredible that we were able to allow perpetual pool holders to catch that awesome dip. Let's tweet that out. Let's give that chart. Let's come over here to Twitter. Just clean up for you guys. Oh, congratulations to our brother Name. This baby's middle name is Maximus. How incredible is that? That is amazing. Congratulations. Week 3. Love it. The future is here. What I love about just life is that I think it's so incredible how babies, they understand all the secrets of the universe, and they lose that understanding once they're able to speak. And so I think that's like this amazing duality of life, is that a newborn child has all the secrets of the universe in their brain, but they don't have the ability to speak. And then after a couple of years, they pick up the ability to speak, and then they lose access to that. So I think that's pretty amazing, because I think that those secrets of the universe still remain there, but they're not as instantly accessible. Like that baby right now with his eyes closed is navigating all the secrets of the universe, all dimensions, all universes, and that all is still there. But then once it's able to speak, it kind of loses its ability to so easily navigate it. It has to come via inspiration or in your dreams. And so that's why I think it's so amazing whenever I see some of my friends start having babies, and I'm just looking at things, I'm just I wish I could understand what's going on in that brain. I think the most powerful computer on earth is the brain of a newborn. So congratulations to Name. Oh yeah, what was that? I was going to tweet this image. Let's tweet it out. There's the image. Save chart image. Okay. All right here. Maximus perpetual pool minters. Top that dip. Congratulations to all those who are participating. Making programming. Can I call you Dragon? You gotta call me Nighthawk. Lulu Bard from the Wyatt. No way, dude. I wear literally almost all my clothes are Lululemon. Literally shorts I'm wearing, shirt, my sweatpants that were just on the floor here. Literally everything. I got the Step Brothers reference. Want to go to karate? Yup. Should we expect base and tree to quickly outvalue Hex? Well, who knows? You can't expect anything. These are what markets do, so let's see what they're doing now. Actually, let's just go to Maximus, our portfolio. So looks like base is at 1, trio is at 0.99. Wow, Lucky in a deep discount, 8% discount on Lucky. Jesse at 0.97. So yeah, I mean, I think that that's actually pretty incredible that these shorter ones are closest to 1, and that's probably because they're redeemable in such short amounts of time. So anytime it goes too far below, it just like it's an easier choice to just buy it because there's less time. And what makes sense is that over time is they earn their yield that they're gonna be like that the market will price that in, but it really just comes down to the buyers and the sellers. So we're probably seeing these discounts. The poly launch right now probably is like I've seen people who minted their pool tokens selling for Hedron to prepare for poly, and then some people, shiny objects, the others random coins. Like the demographic of this cohort, like the demographic of this group of minters here, is actually very, very different from the what are they called? The minting. Here, let's pull up the minting data. Okay, yeah. So, like Maximus, for instance, had 5,300 minters for 300 million hex. And let's look at this. And then actually here, a better way to look at it. So Maxi had 5,300 minters with 294 million hex. This one here, like this new set of pools, had 3,348 minters with 811 million hex. So about a 5 times greater average mint size. So a whole new demographic came in with these pools. So a much more speculative cohort where they're looking for like quick trading. Like a lot of people saw how Maxi performed right out the gate, and then they wanted to experience that with these pools. So we're like Maxi, the people that were really into that were more like people using it for staking. I mean, that's why the premium's gone up and held. Like aside from the team minting, because the team minting definitely had an impact, but it's just people were buying it instead of staking, or they were minting it instead of staking on their own. Whereas I think a lot more, like we had a lot more of the shiny object crowd in this new set of pools. And so the shiny object crowd, the way I describe that is like these are the people that like you look at their Etherscan and they're just trading like every day. It's like they're doing something, like they're shifting stuff around. It's like they're making a trade and then like regretting it, then undoing it. And so they're just like, it's kind of, I think, like a compulsive thing where some people just like they get so anxious about their funds, that they're just like always like, oh, like I need to be in this thing, I need to be in this, I need to be in this. And so they like trade so much, but they're not really making any progress. Like when you track their Ethereum value of their coins, it's basically just kind of like, and maybe slowly trending down, and maybe they have a gain and then they give it right back. And so I think the demographic shift in these pools was a lot different. And then also, you know, we had 300 million hex pooled into Maxi, and then that was over a 2-week period. And now we had, you know, 811 million hex pooled into these pools, and that's 811 million hex that is not buying the tokens because they already minted them. So just because, you know, there was so much more participation. I mean, you know, our goal was 600 million. We already smashed that. Like, had we just hit our goal of 600 million, and then the remaining 200 million hex that was minted was instead just buy support, then, you know, that could be, you know, all of them could be at premium. So that's kind of the, you know, the nature of it, where, you know, the goal was large participation, and the more people that are minting, the less people there are immediately there to buy. And so, but you see that everywhere, right? Like, with with Pulse Chain, for instance, we were talking about this yesterday. Like, if you look at how many people sacrificed for Pulse Chain to Pulse X, like, that's honestly like the only bearish thing about Pulse Chain is that there's just so much participation in the minting or in the sacrifice, because that's not moving the price up at all. Like, that's actually potential energy for the price to go down in the future. Like, you'd rather less people sacrifice, more people buying after the sacrifice. So it's kind of the same phenomena. It's just like when there's a lot of participation at that 1-1 rate, then that can kind of slow down slow it down. But probably over time, especially as base gets closer to the end, we'll probably see there's probably going to be a day where base ratchets up from, it'll probably kind of trying to kind of follow the earnings, and then suddenly it'll probably ratchet up from like 1.04 to like 1.12, which is probably it'll settle out to at the end. So it's probably going to be like a random day this year where it just yoinks right up. Just people preparing for that. Will the fees on Pulse really be cheaper than needs? If the capacity's not really bigger and it's auction based, we could end up with the same fees. One transaction costs 100 Pulse to get included in a block. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I was saying this even before this like new change. Like, it's like you shouldn't expect the fees to be low anywhere. If there's a valuable chain with high value assets and high priority, high value economic activity happening on it, you got to expect high fees, because like, and the fees aren't a problem. Like, it's, you know, it's like a signal of the demand. Like when we go to the TX street, here's a good way to view what it is. So like, this is, here, let's just only show Ethereum. Well, whatever. Ethereum, because that's what matters. So like, this is the fee line, right? So these are the blocks. These are all the people trying to get in the blocks. Only so many transactions can fit in these. And so, and these are all the people that have put, like, this is what's crazy, where it says low fee line. These are all the transactions where people put in like a low ball fee, and they're just waiting for it to go through. So like, look at this. So like, you know, if this can absolutely happen on Pulse Chain. If there's a lot of activity, and especially with Pulse X, you know, like that's probably where the majority of the activity will be happening. Like right now, the things on Ethereum, I mean, if we look at the Ether scan, or the gas guzzlers here, So right now the gas is up in these like kind of mid ranges here. You know, Uniswap, NFT, trading, USDC. What is this? You know, so like probably most of the activity on Pulse or on Pulse Chain will be Pulse X, and who knows how efficient Pulse X is, right? And especially if there's a lot of like bridging because of the like with Pulse X, the whole point of it is this cross-chain markets, and you have to bridge in your assets from Ethereum onto Pulse Chain to trade. So maybe the bridge, you know, if there's a lot of trading activity on Pulse X, that's going to mean a lot of activity on that bridge. And so, I mean, that alone can really fill the blocks up. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't expect, you shouldn't expect low fees anywhere. You should feel lucky if you ever pay low fees. You know, and that's the cost like of using a permissionless, censorship resistant, permanent blockchain. Like if you can't afford the fees, then, you know, perhaps your use case can be offloaded to other layers. And that's kind of what, you know, what Maximus is, where a lot of people aren't going to be able to afford the fees to stake. And so they have to, you know, use other solutions. Luckily, our solution doesn't introduce a whole lot of extra risk. So it's not like other types of layer twos where you have to give up a whole lot of risk in order to lower your fees. But yeah, I mean, they'll be cheaper just because there's going to be less activity from the start. But as soon as, like, if Pulse Chain's a success, it's going to be clogged. If it's not successful, then it'll be cheap, but we'll get our cheap transactions. If Pulse Chain's not successful, and then the assets on it probably aren't going to be successful and probably not going to be very high value. And so if there's not a lot of value over there, then it's like, okay, cool, you have a cheap chain, but there's nothing valuable happening there. So that doesn't really help you either. So yeah, I do not expect low fees anywhere. But also, I in general, my attitude, like, I'm very anti-Hopian. Like, in no setting do I ever make plans around the scenario that I want. Like, I always assume that the thing that I personally want is not going to happen, because then you're prepared for all situations. Because, like, if you can thrive when the thing that you wanted to happen didn't happen, it's like you're just going to win no matter what. Because it's like, you know, it's literally the image that I was bringing up a lot. Thrive maybe is how we can find it. Yeah. So it says, okay, then covering all possible scenarios, it's clear that the average user has a better chance of high satisfaction staking in a pool compared to staking solo. Solo stakers need low fee, while stake poolers thrive in both high and low fee environments. So, like, if you're prepared for both high and low gas fees on both chains, like the stake poolers are, here they're stake poolers happy in a setting where low ETH fees, low pulse fees, stake poolers are happy, solo stakers are happy. Then here, high ETH fees, low pulse fees, stake poolers are happy, solo stakers are sad because they can only afford to stake on Pulse Chain. In this setting with low ETH gas fees and high pulse gas fees, stake poolers are happy because they're fine. Solo stakers are sad because they can only end their stakes on ETH. And then, but a scenario where there's high ETH gas fees and high pulse gas fees, the stake poolers are thrilled because they can afford to end on both, and it comes at the expense of the solo stakers who can only end on one. And so it's always better to prepare for high fee environment, because then it's like you win no matter what. Like in all four of these settings, like in all possible combinations, the stake poolers, meaning people that prepare for high fee environments, they're thriving. So, you know, and that's why Maximus is such a big part of the Future HEX, because at a time where other popular applications are only making it more expensive, they're only clogging the chain with spurious transactions, like between Zen and Icosa, there's so much individual staking and just like other types of gas fee wasting and block space wasting going on, that, you know, at a time where other things that are popular amongst kind of the crowd. While that's all happening, it's only making fees worse for everyone else. And so that's why Maximus really is a critical piece of HEX infrastructure, because it's a solution to high fees. It doesn't require like a successful layer one. Like the whole Pulsechain thing, to try to lower fees, that's like a huge undertaking, very high risk, very low certainty if it'll work to actually lower fees. Whole lot of other challenge. Like, it's a huge challenge. Like, how many developers? He's have like 14 developers working on it, and like, so introducing a layer one as a solution for fees, that's not like, it's very high risk. Whereas a simple smart contract built by one person is mainly goofing on. Like, literally, like I wasn't particularly focused during the whole launch of it. Like, it took me like a couple months to build, and I was goofing off. I was getting married, going on a honeymoon, going on his weddings, like really like, but it was so simple of a solution that a single person was able to build it. Like, that's the type of solution you want, because it's like a very low risk of implementation compared to like building a whole layer one to solve gas fees. And also, like, I think I kind of agree with Vitalik in that sense, where it comes down to the application layer to mitigate fees. Like, the purpose of a layer one should be to persist forever. Like, permanence should be the number one priority of a layer one, and you don't really get that by ensuring low fees for every user. It's up to the application layer to do that, and so that's really why Maximus is a critical piece of HEX infrastructure, because it's like a serious fee solution. No matter what layer, no matter what happens. So it's pretty good. Mr. Crypto J says, what transactions do you just visualization? Rebirthing old school RH live streams, dropping knowledge. Yeah, man, those are my favorite. Those are the days. Like, those are the true glory days, I think. Even like pre-HEX, just like having Richard get on and just share knowledge, answering questions, and that was really inspiring to me. And that's what I think was critical to the success of HEX, was because just that culture of knowledge sharing. It established that culture of knowledge sharing, and that style of community building, where a lot of the early HEX community was people that were in that chat. So that was something that always inspired me, that Richard used to do. And a lot of people, I think, criticize him too much for not doing that anymore. Like, it's exhausting and it's kind of fatiguing. And, it's like, lately, it's like I've been able to get on stream so much just because, like, I have so much to share right now, because there's a lot of relevant stuff going on now. It's like we had the Maxi launch, then we had the perpetual pools and team launch. Now we have the Poly launch, and kind of all these things are unfolding, and so there's a lot of relevant information for me to share right now. Maybe in a couple years, maybe that kind of fades away. Maybe or maybe you have other life interests. Like, because it's like, he's, people have other life interests and other things go on in their life, and so you can't really blame someone for not always being like there providing free entertainment value forever. And it comes and goes, and hopefully I can kind of carry on that legacy. And then at some point, someone else can, another builder can come and kind of carry on that legacy, and then we'll all kind of be in that same world together. Almighty Hexing says, Beezus the Chad. Oh my God, my alter ego. It's so funny. The name literally, it's like, how you shouldn't ever give yourself nicknames. I totally gave myself that nickname. It's like when the pandemic first started, and then everyone started just doing Zoom calls. We have like Zoom game night. Like, back when we thought that like that everyone was gonna die if you left your house. Like, I think we started at my job. We were doing these like Zoom game days or something. Like, 'cause we used to do game days all the time at the company I worked at, and so we started doing them online. And there's a game we played, which is super fun, that we should play honestly as a group sometime. It was called Scribble, and it was like Pictionary, and you had to put in a name, and I put Beezus, and then it's like I would literally just like every time I would guess a number, if I got it or guess a word, if I got it right, I was like, "Let's go, Beezus!" And if I got it wrong, I'd be like, "Come on, Beezus!" And literally, it's just like I've hijacked these company-wide game days by just cheering for Beezus, and Beezus was like my online gamer alter ego. So anytime I refer to myself, I refer to myself as Beezus. I met Beezus in real life. I'm honored. Nice to meet you. Green candles feel good. Oh yeah. When it comes to perpetuals, can you see if the majority is limit order buy, sells, or market buys? Probably market, I bet. But I don't know. You have to look at the pools. The Green Day. That's right. Hey, DC Neverland's pop. Hey, what's up, Sandy Beach? Colonist. Potato heads talk about nothing, always complaints. Cancel-ism. Dave Catcher, do you think artists just didn't have the time to make the products you're making, or was this something you couldn't have foreseen? It's something that they did foresee. It was in the audit. Like literally the HEX kick audit. Or maybe it's coin fabric. Yeah, like right here. Excessive gas for computation. They said to limit max stake days to a more reasonable value, for example, 10 years, because of the amount of gas required to end a stake. So that's how they lowered it to 5 days. So they knew about it. I don't know if they thought it would get as bad as it did. And, also it's like what he'd said in a video. You should watch a video that, here, I'll share the link. You can find it here. It's on Gold Key's channel. Like he said it, I think right here. Okay, here. I don't know if you can hear this, but so he said that he wasn't going to do it, and I'm sure when they're talking about like a secondary market, I think he was what they were discussing more is just like to trade the stakes, whereas the whole solution with Maximus, it really wasn't about the trading of the stakes. That was like a nice side effect. It was more about the what's it called? Like the tradability, or our solution is more about the gas fees. They were talking about the tradability, but yeah, I mean, it's probably they definitely they knew it was a problem, but maybe not as bad. And what he said earlier is that like the market will produce solutions, so that's kind of what happened. They didn't need to do it. What I did think, and I talked about this yesterday. There's an interview with that guy Kyle, who is one of the developers, and I think Crypto Coffee asked him why they didn't, because like I had like we're a stream a while back or something, or maybe on a stream with Crypto Coffee, I had suggested that they could have done the whole stake calculation, like the interest calculation, different, because like right here it says for every day between the begin day and the end day, it calculates a payout. So for when the beginning day is day 3 and the end day is 5558, this has to loop through 5,555 times, and it has to pool this number. And the act of reading this number is what's so expensive. Literally reading daily data of the day payout total, that's what's so expensive. Literally this simple, getting this variable here, because they have to loop through every day and add up all of the yield. So what I had what I had put forth the question was, why didn't the contract simply store a running total of like a daily payout per T-share, like as if a T-share had just lasted every day. And then you take the end day and you subtract the start day, and then that difference is what you get. And what he had said was that because of the way that rounding works in Solidity, it can introduce error, and that because it would be like a running total, that error could just like build up and propagate and snowball. But then I'd thought through it and actually, wrote some Python to kind of look at it, like how much would that error actually propagate? And the error comes down to the last digit. So there's 8 decimal points in hex. So if the number was to round up, so maybe half the time, because half the time when you divide, like, so say you divide, what's a good example, like 7 divided by 3, that would round to 2. Like if you round it down, because it comes out to like 2.1. And then 8 divided by 3, that is still 2, but that one rounds up. And then 9 divided by 3 is 3. So for like 7 divided by 2, that makes sense that it rounds down. But 8 divided by 2, that should round up. But because of the way Solidity works, you have to either deliberately there are ways to handle that rounding error where you make it round up or down, but still, like, even like rounding up, either way, when you're forced to be rounding, because of the way it's like all Solidity has is integers, and all it has are whole numbers, it doesn't have decimals. You have to round. That can introduce some error, and then that error, because you're adding on top of it, it's like always going to be growing. But the way that I'm like, okay, well, why don't you just simply make the rounding always happen in one direction? So like make it so you're always rounding down, because it's better for it to always be low, because then that's just like more deflationary. And then just bake that into the rules, where like it starts at a maximum of 3.69%, but then over the years, every day as that number is updated, if the odds, like, so maybe it has a 50% chance of having to round down when it shouldn't have, and the number is 0.00000001. So it at most could change by 0.00001% per day on the days where it just happens to where the rounding error would happen. So that would mean that so say that happened every day, just even though it wouldn't, just to like be extra liberal in this estimation, it would move off by 1 hex per T-share every 100,000 days. So like I don't even think that that propagation of the rounding error is even a problem. And even if it was, that should have just been part of the rules. Like, okay, we're starting at 3.69% inflation, and perhaps over time it goes down simply due to rounding. So it's always growing, but maybe the amount that it grows by is a little bit less and less every year. And maybe that should have just been part of the rules. And so I think they're aware, but also, I mean, maybe that, sometimes when you're building stuff, it's like you're set down a path, and then once you realize something's a problem, in order to fix it, they would have had to fix a whole bunch of other stuff, like, because the whole hex system is based around this daily data thing. So when we go to the hex contract here, it's literally all built around daily data. So you can read it here. So like daily data from day 1000, let's just read that, where it says the day payout total, the day stake shares total, and the day unclaimed Satoshis total. So, everything was already built around this concept of a daily day field that saves the information for each day. And so maybe, they were already locked into this one type of solution where changing it once they realized there's a problem is just going to be too hard or going to take too long. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why, you may know about something as an issue and maybe have a different solution, but maybe with like the timeline of launch, you just can't fix it, and you just kind of leave it up to someone else to fix later. And that's kind of what we did with the tools. So it's not a bad thing they didn't fix it, because that's something that you can fix after the fact with things like Maximus. So Ollie coming for that hedron. Yeah, we're coming for those HSIs. This pump is the perpetualist pump. Oh yeah, the perps. Hey there, 18 XYZ. We don't want that. Win Dip Catcher 2.0. Kids' brains operate at a lower frequency than adults. Around 7 years old, the brain frequency change. Yeah, maybe that's why they're so in tune. Because, like, what is it like with so AM radio? Those are like, well, I guess, okay, AM is amplitude modular, so it's like the same frequency but different height. And then FM radio is changing the frequency. So lower frequency means longer wavelength. And so longer wavelength means that longer wavelength waves, they travel through, like, sound that travels through the wall is like long wavelength. So maybe there's something there where they're able to like get those like those secrets of the universe, which are like ultra long frequency or ultra long wavelength, meaning low frequency waves. Maybe that's, dude, you might have just explained my whole theory on the brain and its role in the universe. That's really frequency. Just don't care. Yeah, that's sent to the team rewards for year one. Does it show up on here? Okay, so for base, the total team earnings per team staked is going to be 0.004, so about 0.4% on the hex, and then 26 hedron per team staked. And this is always going down because people are ending their stakes. So as of now, there's been 82,000 team burnt from early end stake penalties. Oh my God, look at this big stake that ended. Get fucked, dude. Oh my God. Let's see what this person did. Probably some degenerate trade. Okay, they still have a lot of team left. 400,000 team. Let's see what they're... Should see a team. Yeah, look at that. This person's getting ready for poly. Let's see, where's their... Yeah, team. Okay. So, oh no, so they bought, see, this is what I mean, like there's these people that just like trade and trade and trade, and I bet if we look at their, like they go up and then they go down, and then they go up and they go down, and it's just like, they don't really make any progress. Let's see if we can find their end stake. Yeah, right here. So 28 days ago, what did they do? Okay, so they minted team, and then they sent... What did they do? Okay, so they minted their team with 1.75 million maxi, and then they staked their team. And then a week later, they early end staked. Yeah, and they only got, look at that. That person lost 1,750, 123 times 0.0369. That person lost 64,000 maxi on their penalty. So times 0.07, like $4,500. So, you know, you see that happening a lot, like with these, you know, so that number will kind of creep up as more and more people choose to early end stake their team. And so far, you know, we've seen 82,000 team burnt. So we're already seeing some deflation in team. So out of the 90 million, so there's like 90 million minted. 3 divided by 90, 123. So it's already the supply's already gone down by almost 0.1%. Pretty cool. Hey y'all. I'm this many. Hello, what's up? What's up? What's up, Daniel? What's up, KD? Perpetuals are removing the traders off chain. A bunch of trio is dumped. Hopefully. See, and also that the hex price going up is also like because these coins are hex, and so whenever hex goes up, it probably could be sent like, you know, because it's hex, right? And so when the hex price goes up, then people might be selling their pool tokens, and since there's like not much liquidity on some of them, then they can have like an impact on the price. Oh, you're talking about the transaction street. It was funny to watch this during the chain minting. With the seed fees, I don't think about doing anything on chain. Yeah, just do it in the pools. 24-hour volume is only. I'm matching other perpetuals that if stakers convert, the actualization price at stake end will be less than the token value. Well, no, actually, when the stakes end, the price actually ratchets right to the new minting and redemption rate. So for instance, when base ends, okay, the APY estimate is about 11.39%. So at that point in time, the new minting rate will be, you can mint one base with 1.1139 hex. And so because you can both mint and redeem at that new rate, whenever you can both mint and redeem, that is an arbitrage opportunity that just yoinks the price down to that redemption rate. And so because there's like a minting and redemption phase after the stakes end, the price will just yoink right there. And then after that, it may deviate. But during those minting and redemption phases, it kind of like normalizes the price. So these are kind of like hex inflation-backed stable coins in a way where the price, where there's no like price peg for years at a time. And then for a 7-day period, it like reestablishes the price peg. So that's honestly a pretty cool innovation, I think, is it how like the minting and redemption kind of brings that. Dude, as soon as Pulse Chain kicks off, all of this shit will have mass adoption. Yeah, I mean, if we can onboard people to Pulse Chain, it all boils down to the throughput. I don't know, actually, because when there's high throughput, then it just lowers the barrier to entry for a new application, and then that new application can just absorb that throughput. So I think it more comes down to the priority of the transactions that we're going through, not necessarily the throughput, because like what we see with things like NFT, like whenever there's NFT launches, there's a bunch of people competing for the blocks because they want to get the high value NFTs and they want to get theirs first. So things like that really drive the price up because those are like high value, high priority transactions. And same with like when we have a bunch of stakes ending, like for instance, when, where is it? So, like here, when there's going to be 6,191 stakes ending all at once, and maybe it takes two of these can fit on a block, and so 3,000 blocks are going to be specifically for, like that is high priority, high value transactions, and that's going to run it up too. So that's kind of the main driver. The throughput's part of it, but the main driver is really like how much do the people who are trying to get their transactions through, how much are they willing to pay for the blocks, and how much are they willing to overpay in order to block other people out of the blocks. So hold on a second. Yeah, see, compound interest 10 years out is 71%. Well, so are you talking about like the sum of the earnings? Because when we look at the like Desi, about 28%. That doesn't necessarily compound. So I don't know, like, are you, so 28 times, or maybe 0.28 times 1 point, if you're compounding by like 369 raised to the 10, is that probably what you're doing? Maybe. Not sure how you got that 71%, but the interest actually doesn't compound. The T-shares, you lock in your rate, and if less people join after you, then your earnings go up. But yeah, the APY doesn't compound in that way, because like you're not like this, the 28% that you're earning in this first year, you don't actually get those HEX, and those HEX aren't added to your stake, and those HEX don't give you more T-shares, and the T-shares would earn you the yield. So there's actually not a compounding of the interest. The T-share rate only getting more expensive is kind of like compounding, but there's actually not compounding in the HEX staking itself. There's kind of a simulated compounding, but it's not the HEX that's actually it's not compounding. It's just like more that, your earnings per HEX stake relative to new people gets higher over time because you're locked in at your earlier T-share rate, and the T-share rate only goes up, but the earnings themselves don't compound. Did Lucky get max bigger pays better? No, it got halfway there, exactly halfway. So this one will probably, because if it's the estimated earnings at the end of that are probably going to be what, like, just say that like this APY stays constant, and so for 7 years, so 7 times 0.22, so 1.54 times 75 plus 75. So by the end of that, it's probably going to be worth about 190 million HEX, and so on the second go around, it'll reach it, and I think base will reach it as well, because in a year from now, there's going to be a new base minting event, and and by the end, it'll only be at about, it'll be at about 111 million HEX in the base pool, and so the base pool it'll already be that much closer. It'll only need 40 million HEX in a year from now to end. And when we look at things like app HEX win/charts, we look at this to see just how much HEX is going to be coming out in the next year. I mean, look at all these. This doesn't show the amount of HEX ending, but like in between now and October of 2023. Like we have a bunch of hex stakes ending. So on this day, 530 of them ending. Like, so this is a bunch of hex. Okay, so it says, oh yeah, okay, no, that doesn't show. It doesn't show the total amount, but it was now and there, and there's a ton of hex stakes ending that can absorb that. So, but now you can trade your stake for Icosa. Well, that's if you're doing through at HSI. Yeah, that's probably true. Every human needs at least 7 happy moment touches every day. I guess it's difficult for 7 happy moments. Yeah. Wait, let's play Jackbox. Great recall. I'm pulling that video up. Wow. Golki says, drop the most insightful OG Hex Alpha that only you know. That only I know. Okay, I mean, I guess it's not something that only I know because I repeat this ad nauseum, but if everyone thinks they're getting rich, no one's getting rich. That's my alpha. Wow, that one line of code for the 5555 day loop. Yeah, it's tough. Is Satoshi planning to crash Bitcoin for Ether? I have no idea. This is life feeling better. Most people don't see the arbitrage stuff. That's definitely alpha. Definitely tax you our majority Americans, yeah. Jesus, where do I buy this limitless pill? It's called eating eggs and ground beef for breakfast. Gonna launch a new hex? No, probably not. I'll probably just build on hex. That would be a cool idea. What would a Dipcatcher hex be? If Dipcatcher was to launch a hex clone, what do you think it would be like? And also, do you think it would get the amount of vitriol that all the other copycats get? Do you think people would be more or less receptive of a Dipcatcher certificate of deposit token? What do you think? I like fair at a 4.83K market cap. I thought all babies were born only able to speak ancient Hebrew. Only Sarago, I don't know who that is. My brother didn't speak till he was 4, and then he just screamed for a year. All the secrets of the universe. Do you suggest taking the hex we get after perpetual stake ends and then reminting the perpetual in the grace period, or just keep the perpetual? Yeah, so just keep the tokens, then you just roll forward, because like when like this ends, your one base is now going to be worth 1.139 hex, and so you just keep your base, and then after your 2, and say that APY stays the same, so now you're 1.1139 times 1.1139, now worth 1.24. And so by just keeping it, it's just like your yield just auto compounds and just rolls forward. So yeah, you just keep them. It's pretty awesome that way. Damn, it's a lot considering you're be unlocked yearly. Thanks to whoever sold me Trio. Did someone sell it right now? Was that what you're saying? Isn't the throughput technically exponentially better though? For the price? Well, throughput doesn't impact price at all. If anything, lower throughput increases price. Hold on a sec. Should have links to buy the pretzel. Yeah, we should, honestly. Wow, team earnings already look nice. Yeah, especially for the bait for Desi, and then can we know how many t-shirts we get per hex and each perpetual? Let's take a look. So for base, it is I'll do this. Add a column here. Okay, so we're going to say add a column, and it's going to be T-share per token, and then let's do this. Okay, so we're going to say self dot label tspt base dot text equals .3f format. We're going to say base data t-shares divided by database minted Okay, let's run that and see how that looks. So we can see T-share per token. Okay, so you mean I had to add more decimals here? Okay, we're going to call it B shares per token. So divided by 1,000. Let's see if that works. Why is that doing that? So the base data T shares divided by 1,000 is B shares. Maybe we don't want to get hung up on this. Why don't we just do this? I'll just answer your question and I'll work on adding it later. So let's just print that out. So we're going to print base data T shares divided by data base minted base data. I'm gonna look this up actually. Trio, Lucky, Jesse, base, Trio minted, Lucky minted. Guys. Okay, so it's 0.00005 per base, 0.00006 per Jesse. So let's do like per million or like per 100,000. Yeah, whatever. You get the point. Just divide those T shares by the supply. I hope Lucky gets max bigger pace better next year. That would be bussin'. Well, next cycle. Yeah, it definitely will. Grass fed. You say that if everyone thinks they're going to get rich, then they wouldn't. But then that's not true on many points, including if these are on ramping as ballistic. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like, of course, there's going to be scenarios where it's not true, and there's also like self-fulfilling prophecies. But like, if the people that are being on ramped think they're getting rich after the price has gone, is just going straight up, then like, that's what I mean. Hex's math is too on point. You just can't copy or fix it. It won't work. I mean, I just described how you could, and that's just one thing. And like, what John, describe what is perfect about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Hex is great, and it's not really the math that's great about it. The great thing about Hex is the monetary policy, which the math is part of it, but the monetary policy of where people that are committed to holding for long periods of time grow their piece of the pie, while people who hold liquid shrink their piece of the pie. Like, that's the secret sauce of HEX. And the math is what enables that, but it's not like the math that's perfect about it. Because I mean, the math is kind of interchangeable. Like, it could have achieved its perfection with different math. Don't tell about auto compounding alpha. You think pooled HEX staking like Maxi hurt HEX in the long run because it's easier for people to sell versus normal staking? I think pools help, but I guess there's no solutions, only trade-offs. Yeah, I mean, well, when you're selling these tokens, there has to be a buyer, right? So, you know, it doesn't, you know, while there's buyers, it makes it easier to sell, but you know, there could not be a buyer. And it doesn't really, because like, if you think about like the main liquidity pools on these are HEX, you know, like HEXBase, HEX Trio. And that HEX that's in that liquidity pool, that is HEX that is bidding on Trio or bidding on Base. That's HEX that is not bidding on USDC. So, you know, it removes HEX from actively bidding on USDC, which hurts the price. And now that HEX is bidding on the pool tokens, then it comes down to what the person who sells does. Do they cash out? In that case, it hurts the price, but it's like they could have just sold the HEX anyways, or they could have otherwise just not put it in the pool. So I don't think it hurts HEX in the long run about the concept of selling, like, you know, because they could have sold that HEX anyways. And the benefit of how much gas is going to be saved, and that's HEX that people would have actually had to sell. It far exceeds any like incremental extra sell pressure that may happen because people can sell their tokens, because it can only be so much, right? Because if everyone tried to sell, then no one could sell. So, and it's even more magnified. So I don't think that's the case really. Thank you. He says this music is driving me mad. Damn, this is a new song. You don't like it? I'll go back to one of the classics. This is like the one that's like victorious. B shares per token, this will be pretty to watch. Yeah, I'm just divide the number of T shares by token. I think it'll matter. All the HEX in the pools will be staked, so really it's helping the stakes. Not much of a downside because people could still solo stake if they choose to. Pool staking does more than anything else to help the gas. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the beauty in the HEX math, is it's very simple. You don't need complicated stuff. If you one-to-one airdrop to dip catcher HEX to all HEX skins, I bet it'll probably do pretty well. How much different than RH forking Pulse Chain for better fees, more coins, less fees? Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that though. If I was to do it, I wouldn't even tell any Hexicans that I was doing it. I have an alter ego, and I would specifically not market the Hexicans. It's probably just a bunch of salty haters, honestly. I think math as well. Yeah, I mean, definitely is. I think that just that one aspect of it that we were talking about earlier with the, like this right here, like it's more like the execution of the math that we're like, you know, this is like this is like the only problem in HEX right here. And it was laid out in the audit, and then they included a solution. HEX team is aware that it is possible that future changes to the Ethereum blockchain might affect the gas consumption of some operations. We understand that currently this is not an issue, but we wanted to raise awareness. The Ethereum community reached an agreement that satisfies all parties involved. What does that mean? You ever decide if you're going to get an NFT or something out to a team or perpetual diamond, hold it and stay until end? Maybe. It's a good idea. chances I would definitely buy your token if you launched one. I mean, I'm pretty happy with Team. Like Team is amazing. Like that's my token, is Team. It's funny because I mean, Team is really just a growth engine for Hex, so it's like, you know. And also, I mean, I think that like I'm in a unique position. Like people, like new guys that just like come in and then like then try to launch something to try to sell it to people. It's like that's like a tough thing. Whereas like it's much easier from my perspective because like I've been in Hex for so long. You know, I've been like an ardent defender of Hex, big promoter. Like some of the early pumps in the Hex price were honestly people I onboarded, and like where back then you could see the price going up as a result. Like, and so, you know, and luckily I didn't really onboard barely anybody at the highs. So my onboards are all fully happy. So it's kind of funny that like a lot of people I know that the people they onboarded are pissed at them because they're like, I'm wrecked. But I kind of stopped serious onboarding efforts through 2021. And I especially stopped getting people to stake once I realized the staking problem, which happened around April of last year. So, you know, but I continued to defend it on Twitter, continued to cheerlead and, you know, provide good analysis and stuff. So, you know, like because I've kind of just been in the game for so long in Hex, I feel like my competitive advantage is in Hex. And like, compared to just like starting something brand new from scratch, it's like, okay, you lose your audience and then now you have to like create lightning in the bottle. Whereas I feel like I can do things that amplify Hex. And by doing that, it's like I'm starting not from scratch. So I prefer to build around Hex. And because like by now, like Hex has very low existential risk and very, very high upside. So it's like perfect to build around. Like an airdrop for team stakes, they stay the full year. Yeah, could be. If you were to launch a token, could you do it without any initial supply, but also without vampire attacking something like how Hex did to BTC? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, if there's a competitive advantage to vampire attacking, then yes, but not sure. Or what are you talking about? I've literally launched 6 coins this year. If you were to launch it, you mean like a whole new, like not Hex related. It's pretty funny. We have now enough tokens. I feel like the best way to do that would be no. See, I would do the opposite. I'd probably airdrop to people that never staked, to be honest. Because I don't, honestly, like I don't want to encourage any more max length staking. I don't even want to encourage people staking for 10 years. I think 7 years is the max that anyone really should. That's honestly why I love Lucky so much. Is because I think over time it'll become clear that the max length stake you should do is 7 years. So I would probably not be recommending the max length anymore. It's only going to be too expensive. Like that's the only thing I don't like about Icosa is that it's encouraging all these people to make these 6,000 max length stakes. Like that's literally stupid. 77 billion units of gas. Seven seven two four four divided by 41. It's literally 1,800 times as much gas consumption from all the Icosa stakes versus all of the perpetual stakes that will happen in that same period. It's like a huge difference. Like I don't want more people to max length stake. I want less people to max length stake. a hex type coin. Okay, if I was to do that, here's the secret sauce. I don't know if I want to say this because someone's going to build it. Okay, I actually know of a way how to apply the stake earnings in a way that doesn't cost anybody any gas. Yeah. Literally, it's actually simple. And I could probably build it in one day. What do you think about Texan token? Not the right time. I mean, I think it's just like, to me, by now, it's like I've seen so many of these things, like these hex kind of copies, where it's like it's hard to recreate that magic. And think about it, like what's really driven the success of hex? Really, a big factor of that is Godwale. You know, who's like, are you like, is Godwale gonna is Godwale going to ape into that, like $1 million into that when it's like brand new and just like double the price? Like, is that what, like when you look back, like the first like how Godwale kind of sent us on our way? Like, is that going to happen? You know, and is it going to be like a crazed lunatics going to reorient their life around it? Are people going to build all financial ecosystem around it? And if they can make that happen, but I guess I mean honestly, by now I'm like past the point of looking for shiny objects, and also because like I mean, so I guess shiny objects within kind of the hex realm, because I've had massive performance in crypto in things way outside of hex that I didn't even talk to hexers about. Because especially then, now it'd be a little bit different, but especially back then, it was like very like if you talk about anything, people were coming for your throat. And so like 2020, 2021, I crushed it out, even outside hex, crushed it by huge. But even if I didn't have hex, I still crushed it. And so like I'm absolutely into shit coins, but kind of what I said earlier about if everyone thinks they're getting rich, no one's getting rich. You know, it's like I what I really mean by that is it's good to be in the things that aren't just being hyped up, that aren't just like thrown in front of your face, and a lot of things where they're just like kind of outwardly copying hex and trying to market it to hexagons. It's just like, okay, like maybe that goes up, like a lot of things go up, but yeah, I mean, I definitely love shit coins, but my top performing not hex shit coins were not even related to hex. Don't say it. Oh shit, I should build it. Would you give the hex stake to a contract that pays out another token like a bridge? I mean, that's what the pools are. At least we get security token. Yeah, I mean, because there's probably nothing wrong with it. Like by now it's actually very easy to build stuff that doesn't have anything wrong with it. Especially if you get it for free, it's like there's very little risk. And like, as long as you check your Etherscan and know you're not like signing, spurious transactions, like you really have no problem. Like there's very low risk. So definitely experiment and take risk, by all means. But if you do release that, it would probably be best just to do it now. No way. See, also, I don't even like. I at this point, like I don't really like want to keep up with everything, But hopefully, people have massive success with it. I want people to experience massive gains. All right, guys, we're gonna start working on the poly contract. That's what I should have been doing. I meant to only talk about shit for 30 minutes, but now we're gonna be working. So here's what we gotta do. I was making some progress on this yesterday. We actually got to do some testing. Katie says right now, I'm not gonna build my idea. Maybe next bear market, maybe next cycle when there's even more shiny objects. And what I'm saying is it's not like a better way to do hex, and I wouldn't even like even frame it as related to hex. But like my idea, which is not even like an actual idea, like I can think of, it's like we already have the next thing lined up after poly. So, and that's like actually massively important for hex. So like my mind is still fully centered on, will be centered on promoting the growth and advancement of the hex economy. Like especially like, honestly, poly's kind of a waste of time compared to the next thing we're building, to be honest. Like we're kind of solving a big problem in hedgeron ecosystem, where like if we weren't launching this, people were probably gonna get fucked. And so it's important in that sense, but the next thing we have is way more important than poly. It's related to the pools, but it's probably more important than just the pools alone. Like this with the pools is like that. So we already have other direct hex related things on the docket for after poly. We're launching poly because there's some time sensitivity to it, and that's why I need to quit goofing off and finish up this test sequence so we can get this ready to go. But yeah, there's some other massive improvements. Not even improvements to not like an improvement to hex, just like it kind of goes along with what Fogrider says. It's like, I'm in the mindset that once hex goes viral from Pulse and documentary, people are going to hate the gas fees. The press is going to be able to save hex for the masses. Yeah, could be. See, I don't even know how, like, I don't think that Pulse makes hex go viral. Documentary, I think, can make hex reach new audiences, and maybe the timing is good with like new people entering crypto, like as the next bull market kind of kicks off. Yeah, I because it's like, okay, all the new users we've reached from Pulse Chain, they're already here, and they're the ones that bought the top, and they're pissed. Like most of the people that are really pissed right now, those are the people that got onboarded into hex because of Pulse Chain sacrifice. So that's kind of the, I don't see like the viral growth from Pulse Chain. I can see some like big viral growth from documentary, just because it's like a way to reach brand new people that aren't in crypto. And I think that especially like there's no reason why fees would be less. Nothing changed on Ethereum between last bull run and this bull run, except for now there's millions of more people. So that means that the fees are going to be worse this next bull cycle. And so I agree that the fees, that the pools launching this bear market are perfect for leading up to this next cohort. And that kind of ties into what I was just talking about, how like our next thing after poly, which I'm not going to talk about yet, but it is perfectly catered to that audience, and it's more of like a growth thing. It's not so much like a gas. I mean, it's like similar gas fee savings, but it's more centered on growth. If Catcher sees the future, I feel it. You just got to look within. You see it too, though. That's the thing. Everyone has the future within them. You just got to look. Heyo. You fixing the stake gas issues on 5555? So I am like really trying to come up with a solution for the existing hex stakes. It's such a tough one though. It's tough. I do have one type of solution that I've thought of. That basically and I don't even know if it would really work, and I don't even know how people might game it. But basically, it would require you to, like, if you have an address with stakes that are done with, you would basically have to, I shit you not, give up your, like, so you'd basically remove all your funds that are not the stakes, and you would have to give your private keys to that address to basically to a counterparty, and basically like the counterparty would then be able to, you know, operate on your behalf, where they basically lend you funds to end the stake, and then because they have the keys, they can they could, you know, would like take the fee that they're charging. So that's one way to do it, and it requires like trust. But it's like, okay, if you're already fucked, then, you know, what's the, it's like you either get nothing or you have the chance that like maybe the counterparty screws you over. So that's one way. That's one way I've actually thought about it. And then through that mechanism, you could have it to where you basically like pool ownership of that, where people contribute to the gas to end it. Other ways have some like other solutions that I've kind of hashed out. There's some of that I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I have been actually deep in discussion with the person that I learned from. There's one guy, I'm not going to say who it is, but there's one guy that no one, I guarantee you, if people read through this, I bet if people watching this right now were to guess who it is that I look to for answers and who I like really try to learn from, and who like there's one particular person whose opinions on things like I trump over just about anybody's. Him and I have been talking about a pretty cool idea for you know, encouraging people to pay for the stakes on each other's behalf, but it's a tough one to solve the existing stakes. It's like maybe impossible. The Maximus team releasing the updates to Maximus stake. Yeah, so maybe, I mean that's later. There's kind of no rush on that because, like, you know, at least if it's diamond hand staking like this, it's like you're holding it till the end of the stake, and so like what's another 30 days? What's another 90 days where you're not doing it? Like it's so long away. So that's a little bit lower on the docket compared to Poly launch now, and then the next thing we're launching, which is gonna be crazy. I just hope Poly gets the most HSIT shares and boosts Hex to the moon. See, I don't really know how Poly's really gonna boost Hex price, to be honest. Because like the Hex has already been bought. You know, the pools are different when you're pooling Hex because you have to buy the Hex to then pool it. But like all the HSIs, that Hex was already purchased. That already boosted the price. Dot goes on Netflix, $1 billion Hex. Yeah, I mean, if we have strong onboarding, like if they can add like a QR code in there in the documentary so that like people watching it go to the Hex site, that would be cool. But I don't know. Who knows if Netflix lets you add there's no way Netflix that lets you add a QR code to your movie. I just can't believe how many awesome people we have in Hex like you, Dipcatcher. I wish you could help, but I'm dumb. You're probably not dumb. No one's dumb. Everyone has the same intellect. Truly. Oh man, I was thinking posting launch on November 2021. Nothing in Twitter deleted. I could be pissed. Hex and Pulsar brothers. You can't even hardly see a logo for one without the other. You do some sort of sub auction. Oh yeah, for the stakes that exist. Make an ETH pool for future 5555 Hex skins. No, I'll probably start promoting against 5555 staking. I think that's done. I think that's flown its course. That like incremental 5 years of yield is like probably not worth that extra gas to do it, to be honest. Alex from Hedron, you and Gold Key. I know you guys will solve it. You're problem solvers. Yeah, that would be. I really do want to solve that. Maybe there's some roundabout way to solve it. I mean, in a way, Hedron kind of, is part of it. It's like okay, well, if you already have an existing max length stake from when before Maxi started, then that probably means you at least got a 5 times Hedron bonus, because Maxi was 5 times Hedron bonus. And so you're earning Hedron, and at least you have that. But the problem is that everyone gets that over that time. So like, kind of literally, it all goes back to that. Like, if everyone's getting something, then no one's getting something. So like, in a way, so if the Hedron price pumps around that time, then yes, that is a part of that solution, or maybe that can help you pay for your gas. But if everyone's using the Hedron to pay for the gas, then just like the first people that were able to use it get the most value, and then the last people get the least. And so, Hedron is part of this. That is part of the solution, and maybe that's like part of this solution here that I'm thinking of. I hear it, all good. Hex has a 12 billion cap right now. Some type of ETH pool for end stake fees. Oh yeah. So that, well, the problem is, so you can't end a stake on the behalf of a regular address. The only person that can end a stake on an address is this. It's called message.sender. So like, when we look at the Hex contract, I'll show you why this is harder. Okay, so you see this stake end? See here where it grabs your stake list reference, stake list of message.sender. So message.sender is like core to the security model of Ethereum, where that is the thing that is calling the contract. And so when you stake your Hex, when you start your stake, message.sender is your MetaMask address. But when someone calls the stake for Maxi, so let's look at the Maximus, show you. So like when you just start your stake, like your stake gets saved there, where message.sender is your address. But when like it's wrapped in a contract, Hex, redeem Hex, stake Hex. Okay. So here, when we're calling this Hex, this like stake Hex function right here, Hex token dot stake start. When we're calling this, the message.sender is the Maximus contract. And then when you end the stake, like anyone can run this function because it's an external public function. But because you're calling it through this contract, the message.sender that from the Hex contract's perspective is the Maxi contract. So that's why anyone can run this to end it. But when you run the end stake function here, if you start your stake from your own MetaMask wallet, only your MetaMask wallet can run it. So that's why the pooling is tough. And that's what I was saying earlier, that like one solution I've like tried to think of is where you like basically give up your private keys to some external service, and then people could pool ETH and then end the stake, and then structure the transaction such that it ends the stake and then pays that group, and then pays something to the person who sold it to them, or who gave up their private keys to that pool. So there might be something there, but that's what makes it really tough, is that you have to have it like this. And like, say someone gives up their stake to like the group that's going to end the stake on their behalf. What if they like do some trickery, and like, because if you give up the private key and then have some external system ending the stake, that user could potentially squeeze a transaction in there and then reclaim all their funds before that second like distribution transaction happens. It's not like how doing it all through a smart contract where like every step needs to happen successfully or else none of them happen. Doing it kind of in that off-chain mechanism may not really work. So that's kind of one issue there. It might require some type of collateral or something, but I don't know. It's a tough problem. It really is. The new club, yes. You just flip the 5 upside down. Oh my God, you're a genius, dude. Let's go to slides.new. Dude, that is so smart. Let's make the 555. Two? No, it's backwards. Still, that's not right. The new 555 stake. That's it. Do you have an opinion on BitBoy and Sam Bankman attempts at a crypto bill? So it's probably gonna suck. Like, what are they regulating? It's gonna suck. Any of that stuff sucks. There's no benefit to it. People are like, oh, it does that. No, it doesn't. It's horrible. There's no representation here. Like, these systems are self-regulating. Like, if there's a scam, then people make it clear that it's a scam. Maybe some people have to lose money, but that's like the cost. Rather than the cost being done through regulation, the cost is like, okay, sorry guys, like that group of people just had to lose money on that so that everyone knew it was a scam. So that's like self-regulation. Then the next time around, it's hard for that person to scam. Or the people that get scammed just like lose their money. And then now they know. And so I don't think that there's any solutions in there. I see why SBF is trying to do that, because he runs an exchange and he wants to assert his monopoly, which is just good business. Like, if you're an exchange operator, like, that's what you do. That's the game he's playing. He's not on your side. So I think all that stuff is pretty bad. And I think it'll require a lot of civil disobedience to kind of push back against. Especially, it makes sense for there to be regulation on like the fiat on-ramps, because those are dollar businesses. But like the on-chain stuff, like the chain native stuff, if there's any encroachment there, I think it'll be due time for civil disobedience and non-refusal. And I even post that video. So here, let me go to my profile. Here, let's actually no. Here, we'll put up my Twitter. I already have a video. So here, I'll answer this question. We're going to come back to that, and then I'm going to hop off. So Maximus, we have the HSI stakes now. Yeah, so the HSI, like that is, and that's kind of what Poly is, where it's a like an HSI pooling system. So like people that have HSIs that are going to be infeasible, they could sell to a pool, or like, so that's kind of part of this whole Poly solution. Is that like right now it's like targeted for these ICOSA HSIs, but this stake pooling system for like, so that like this type of pooled paying for gas, it works on these HSIs. So that's actually a really good thing. So and that's like a result of what is being created with Poly. So there, but for the existing stakes is what I'm talking about, the issue. And the HSI stakes, they don't save you gas. Like they don't save you any gas. It's still like the same gas cost. Slightly more because of the tokenization part. But that's only on the start. That's how Max works. Message sender address correct. Yeah, its own address. Like the Maxi contract is message.sender in that case. Like when you call a contract from another contract, the contract is the message.sender. But when you call it from MetaMask, you're the message.sender. And there's no way to trick that. Like you can't trick, like, or else someone could just literally make your, they can literally scam you. You guys are legend. 333 is also a good one. Cream is getting high BP now. What is that? Oh, blood pressure. I mean, no, he's fine, dude. He has a ton of money. If you have a lot of money, it doesn't matter. If you got in early, it doesn't matter. I don't know. It may matter for some people, but Bankman is a puppet for the elite. Not sure how such counterparty would trust you still. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you may require some type of collateral or some type of like something. What's that? There's a thing called DeFi transaction generator, no code. DeFi bot. Does anyone know that there's something called, I don't know what it's called. It's like where you can, Ethereum custom transaction, no code. What is that thing called? It's a DeFi transaction, no code. Flashbot. It's called Block Native. Ethereum transaction smart contract, no code. Does someone know what that is? It's like how people that do no code DeFi bot. I'm gonna find this because you guys can't see my screen. Oh well. So he says private keys are no good. Well, it's not. Well, like if where in order to join this thing, you would have to remove all your funds other than your stakes that are permanently stuck, and then it's just like your wallet is no longer yours. So in that case, the private it would be fine because it's only bad if like you have funds on there that you don't want the thing to be able to access. So like this would be for like max length stakes that are truly nuked. And then maybe that, but it's tough. Yeah, there's no, let's see, call smart contracts, no code. What is it called? Okay, here we go. Okay, well that doesn't exist anymore. I don't know, maybe something like that. I don't want to set up. Oh, Furu combo, that's it. Maybe this is what we could use it for. Is there custom? See, I think this one's more for like if Furu Combo had yeah, so if this thing had a okay, if we can get Furu Combo to do something. Yeah, okay, so this may be part of the solution here where, like, so we can't do it now because Hex isn't on this list, but so let's connect. So, like, we would have to convince them to add Hex here where it says unstake, and then you would do something like add funds. Let's connect the wallet. So do we have Ethan? Do we have Ethan in these accounts? Yeah. So create, so we add, so in this it would be something like add funds, you'd add ETH, and then you would do something like, if they had, if they, like say they added Hex support here, unstake Hex, stake all, oh shoot. And you add like a send token. So then you send, say, let's get the Hex contract. Guys, this could actually work. This might be how you do it, to be honest. So then you send X to some address. Pull up the Maxi address just as an example, or just whatever random address. I'm not really going to send anything, so it doesn't matter. So like adds the funds, and then it does something, and then sends. So it bundles it all into this, into one transaction. And then we look at the contract interaction. Let's see what we're actually doing here. So this must be the Furu combo. Oh yeah, that's that batch exec thing. Let's see. So yeah, somehow they they bundle transactions into one. But let's see, where's the MetaMask? Copy that raw transaction data, and then let's go to a code. There's nothing there. Okay, that's because we don't have anything legit here. But maybe there's something we could use Furu Combo to do this with, to be honest. But that would mean that they would have to be able to add hex there. Looks like nothing's been going on in Furu Combo since the 2021, but I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Putting out these videos, yeah, thank you. Okay, so here, I was going to go back to this person's question. Where is it? All right, I forgot what the other question was, but I'm going to go ahead and hop off, you guys. I got to get some stuff done. But thanks for joining me today. We had a great time. We'll talk to you soon. Adios.